One big relationship lesson that I've had to learn in a very painful way many times is that hard truths are always better than soft lies or gentle omitting of the full truth, withholding. Hard truths are always better than the soft lies that create temporary comfort. Something we can do as human beings, as codependent human beings, is be like, I'm not gonna tell them the whole thing or all of it. I'll tell them some of it, but maybe not the whole truth, because I think that this is what they want to hear, and that's going to be easier for them to hear, and therefore easier on the relationship and easier to deal with. A personal example of this was something that happened with my mom one time, where I was staying at their house and I was out late and I got a text from her saying, hey, when are you going to be home? And in my mind, I'm like, oh, well, she'd be happier to know that I'm home earlier. She's probably going to bed, so I'll just tell her, yeah, I'll be home soon, even though I knew I was probably going to be out for another hour or so, right? So I'm like, cool, we'll just give her this text. She'll be able to sleep, and then I'll just be home when I'm home. That backfired on me. It would have been so much better if I had just said, hey, I don't know when I'm going to be home. I know I'm out late. I know you're worried about me, but I'm fine. I promise it's all good. But instead, I gave her kind of this soft little, sort of told her what she wanted to hear, soon is relative, right? Trying to protect her emotional state. That is codependence, my friends. That is a small example, but this can show up in so much bigger ways in relationships where you're dating somebody and you're not so sure about the relationship, but you don't fill them in on what you're thinking and what you really need. And oh my God, it just can blow up and it can mess with people. Yeah, so maybe you've been on the receiving end of somebody not telling you a full truth and you're like, dude, why didn't you just tell me? It can be something, these small things they say, or I'm going to be 10 minutes late when really they're going to be 20 minutes late. And it just, yeah, initially you might be pissed off or hurt or whatever it may be by the hard truth that actually in the end isn't that hard. It feels so much better to have truth than it does these little kind of benign little lies or withholdings. So in your own life, I want you to look, where do you maybe do this? Where is this really codependent pattern showing up? Are you on the giving end, the receiving end, both? Oftentimes when you actually take the time to look, there's both, where you're both, there's somebody in your life that is kind of your mirror that's not telling you full truths or withholding some information to try to protect you and your emotional state. They're a mirror so you can see yourself, right? Where